So this is a very simple Wi-Fi camera, a one-dimensional one, which means that it's only taking a picture in one plane, basically making a line of pixels if we image the data. The CAN is a directional antenna, tuned for 2.4 gigahertz, and as it rotates, it scans for networks and records signal strength that it sees on base station names and MAC numbers, so that we can use this for visualization. And if it wasn't for the rain, we would be taking this to Tempelhof and doing the imaging there.
So what exactly do you get from the scan? Once it's finished this 360-degree round, or what does it deliver then, or what do you do with it, what it delivers?
We get a list of thousands and thousands of readings for each network that we see. And of course, since the antenna is very highly directional, so it only sees in the direction that it points, sort of like looking through the tube in a way. So what we need to do with the data then is to map this list of sequential data into a circular pattern, basically based on the direction of the antenna at every reading. And with this, then we can do a visualization, sort of a map of the horizon, if you will.
Of the Wi-Fi horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as I figured, so far, like, there's never the urge to create a real, I don't know, like a map of the Wi-Fi's, or to create some kind of like topography of something, or represent something, but it's more like, what's very experimental.
But I think that is, Martin has been doing sort of similar things, and that has been done for practical purposes as well, with like war driving, where you drive around with a Wi-Fi scanner and a GPS and map where different networks are. And there, we even have location services based on that. But it's quite a different thing to map something location by location and build a two-dimensional map of that on one hand, or capturing a projection of something on the other hand. And of course, this one is only one-dimensional, but when we do this two-dimensional, so it would be moving up and down as well, then we actually basically do something which is equivalent of a pinhole camera, but in a different electromagnetic spectrum than the visible light, so rather in the 2.4 gigahertz, and doing the same thing as a camera, removing one dimension, taking something three-dimensional and capturing it onto a two-dimensional image, which is quite different from point measurements, where you just take one-dimensional values at different locations and then construct them. It's two different ways of seeing it. Mapping it will, of course, that gives you a topography or a map of the landscape. Well, what we try to do is to see, sort of in a way, like if we had eyes that could see radio waves, what would it look like? It's more sort of in a visualization in that sense.
I think on the second day you were also like translating waves into sound, or trying to kind of read sound, or how is your relation to kind of like visual appearance of data and, I don't know, audio sort of translation of waves and data?
Yeah, that is a good question. I think both is very, very interesting, but it's and both are very functional as tools as well. You could say, of course, that the translation to sound is the same thing in a way. Like if our ears did not hear the change of air pressure, but rather had received electromagnetic waves, then this is the way we would hear it. But the simplest way we do it is basically like building AM radio receivers for listening to radio waves in other spectrums than our normal radio transmissions are. And that also becomes a tool for investigation and learning and exploring how different networks behave and work as well, because it's quite different if you listen to, say, GSM or Wi-Fi or other kind of data, which is, I mean, there's lots of data from satellites being transmitted, and you quickly become aware of that the spectrum is very populated. You have signals everywhere.
And this investigation, you call it, that's basically your artistic practice, kind of like finding kind of like means of discovering, in a way. That's how I'd imagine it.
We could say that. I mean, I hesitate calling myself an artist, but I mean...
Why is that?
Well, you know, in one way, I mean, I've always been doing experiments of different kinds, building hardware and building software, and like learning and exploring, and some of that becomes visualization, some is other stuff, and some end up in an art exhibition, and then of course I will be in that function or with that role in that context. I would be the artist if I made the piece, but it's for me it's just one of a bunch of experiments. I don't really know how to label myself.
But does, like, I don't know, the art context carry, or the art structures, do they carry things that you wouldn't want to be, I don't know, affiliated with? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I guess historically I have had been a bit worried about pretentiousness, if you will. But I think that might rather be that I did not really know what. I mean, because in the scene, in the part of the art scene which I do stuff now, I don't see the things from the fine art scene that I did not like so much. So I don't have a problem with that really. But it's all. I mean, I would say I have a problem with putting labels on. Like saying that I am one person, I do one thing, which is of course not true for anyone. But also I mean, rather the art projects are just one expression or one context in which the same project might appear. And many projects have been used in exhibitions or in educational purposes, and also in educational exhibitions, for example, or in medical demonstrations, and then also in art context. Of course, I will be presented in different ways in all these contexts as well, because they would see my role differently.
But that's the funny thing, is like it touches art, but it isn't. It touches science and like official research.
Yeah.
But in a way, isn't that's kind of like somewhere this in between, probably, whatever it is.
Yeah. I guess one thing with these kind of explorations is that, I mean, if you were looking at it from an engineer's point of view, then you would try to do something practical and useful or build a product, whereas this is sort of almost trying to avoid doing practical things and rather try to make thought-provoking things, or things that raise our awareness about properties in the world that we live, and the things that we cannot see that we build around us. Well, sort of an alternate reality in a way.
But isn't the paradox in the workshops that you've already becoming that professional or savvy, that you actually manage to have that your specific knowledge that you can actually pass on or collaborate with the others? There's this kind of nice thing that while you while you only touch each other discourse layer, you create your own your personal artistic discourse, kind of like.
I guess, but that's in the eye of the observer as well. I mean, of course, in a sense, I would have I mean, if you look at things that I've been doing the last 15 years, you would also see a bunch of lines that I follow in that you could call a discourse or so. And of course, there are things that interest me more than others, and it's an iterative process as well. You take one step further every time when you explore things. So that's a nice thing with a workshop and an event like this also, that it gives us the opportunity to spend time working with things that we are interested in the context where we share with and invite other people. That I mean, it's not also it's not, I mean, it's not teacher-student situation. It's, I mean, people bring their own projects and hardware and experiments and want to do things, and we can all help out exploring and experimenting.
I'm fine. Thank you.